Welcome to Decades of Horror, the classic era.
Young woman, leave Whitewood. Leave Whitewood tonight. For 300 years, the devil has hovered over the city, made it his own. The people in it are his. Evil has triumphed over good here.
This is episode 156, recorded July 16th, 2023, and the devil made him do that.
The devil.
Gruesome Magazine.
My name is Jeff Mohr, and on this podcast we cover the good, the bad, maybe even the ugly horror films released since the beginning of time through 1969. In each episode, we'll discuss the monster, spirit, psychos, and villains that have haunted movie-going audiences since the dawn of film history. I got kind of caught there.
Podcasting
with me
is
this
the
week
devil, Bobby Boucher.
It is. The devil got my voice. With me this week are my incredible co-ghosts. First up is Chad Hunt, co-host on Decades of Horror, the all of them, film producer, director with Wreak Havoc Productions, and a comic book artist and writer. Chad, good to see you.
I know, isn't it?
That's a heck of a good movie you got on your t-shirt there.
It is. It's one of my favorite t-shirts.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Also with us is Daphne, who is awesome, stupendous, and likable as hell. How are you, Daphne?
I'm doing real good.
Good?
Real good. Yeah. Always doing better when I see you guys. Get to talk to you.
Yeah. Me too. Also with us is Doc Rotten. I'm trying to find a way to segue into Lime and the Coconut called the doctor, woke him up. We'll have to start doing that. To call the doctor, wake him up. How you doing, Doc?
You gonna put some lime and some coconut? Oh my god.
Yes.
I'm doing great. Yes. Not really, but hey, let's go with it.
Hey. It'll be cool. It'll all be cool. By the way, Decades of Horror and Gruesome Magazine are partnering with Play Now Media, and all of the Decades of Horror are on some of their streaming channels. So check that out. In particular, the Classic Era is on the Classic Sci-Fi Movie Channel, the Classic Horror Movie Channel, and the Wicked Horror TV Channel. Some of the episodes are on the Free Horror Channel and the Free Classic Horror Channel, and there's a Free Classic Science Fiction Channel as well. But those are in progress and not as many up. Otherwise, the other ones have all of our episodes that are out, I believe. So check those out. Lots of good movies on there. Cool stuff like Curse of the Faceless Man, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Frankenstein's Daughter.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah. So, and you know, stuff you've heard of too, like The Brain That Wouldn't Die, 20 Million Miles to Earth in 4D. So, these are all movies we will likely do at some point. We've done Attack of the Mushroom People. They have that as well. So, anyway, onward and upward. Go check those out. And I believe you can watch the movies on them without paying. You don't have to subscribe, but you will get, there's premium content you won't be able to see. And the ones that you can see will have ads. But if you subscribe, just do away with those ads. Check them out. They got some crazy channels. I know there's an All-Star Wrestling channel. I'm pretty sure there's a Sasquatch channel too.
There is.
So
Sasquatch.
and that's worth it just checking that out. There's a found footage channel that's called, I think it's called a POV movie channel.
Ah, cool.
So anyway, you know, all kinds of subgenres you can dig into. All right. So here we are again in the Classic Era doing a movie that's over 60 years old. We are going to spoil it. We're sorry. It's too hard, at least for me, to keep my mouth shut. So if you haven't seen the movie that we do here, you should seek it out and watch it before you go too much farther. And we usually start off with some basic details of the film we're covering. followed by our first impressions, some taglines, and just kind of a general discussion after that of, whatever we get into. So our topic this episode is The City of the Dead from 1960, directed by John Llewellyn Moxey, written by Milton Subotsky, where we heard that name before, story by Mr. Subotsky, screenplay by George Baxt. The cast includes Christopher Lee, Patricia Jessel, Dennis Lotus, Venetia Stevenson, Betta St. John,
And then-
Tom Naylor, Valentine Dial, and Norman McCowan. Production company is Vulcan Films, which is almost Amicus, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Filmed at Shepperton Studios in England. Filming started October 12th, 1959. It was released in the UK on September 9th, 1960, and in the US, September 12th, 1962. The release date, which I already said. The budget was £45,000, which translates to around $126,000 US. Also known as Horror Hotel in the US, Aquilare, Festin de Brujas, Coven, Feast of Witches, and Stat de Toten, which is City of the Dead. But I just like when the titles have the German word Toten.
That's a good one.
The synopsis: a young college student arrives in a sleepy Massachusetts town to research witchcraft. During her stay at an eerie inn, she discovers a startling secret about the town and its inhabitants. Shenanigans ensue. And I'll tell you what, it's too bad Crystal Cleveland didn't watch this movie with us, because this baby has the fog like you read about.
Oh,
Yes.
man, some of the best fog.
Okay, so let's get right into first impressions. And this is Daphne's pick. So let's, how about you go first, Daphne?
We're shaking, Daphne.
Well, I figured I was confused about if I had seen this before, and I think I've seen the riff tracks. That's what I had seen before, because some of the scenes looked really familiar to me, but I didn't remember any of the story. And so it was fun watching it. The fog was awesome. I enjoyed it. There was some parts that it was kind of a little slow, even though I like the slow burn. But I liked the characters, and I loved the main witch, and I liked a lot of the kind of creepy shots and the darkness and the set design and stuff. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Hunt, how about you? Had you seen this before?
Never seen it before.
Oh.
Never seen it before.
Interesting.
So I think I've seen bits and pieces like Daphne talked about on riff tracks, because I remember the scene where they're dragging her out of the house and she spits at one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that scene, and that started making me think, have I ever seen this? But as I went on,
Yeah.
I had not, in fact, seen it. But this is a effective little witch thriller here that and I think we talked about in the chat a little bit. It's almost got a Psycho structure to it, where this college student, she gets killed, and then her brother comes to look for her later, and that kind of thing. So it had a little bit of a mystery side to it. It was creepy. I think they must have scoured London just to find the creepiest old people they could find to wander around this town, because man, they were creepy, especially those two women that were like, what are you looking at?
It was the toothless guy screaming, "Burn, witch, burn!" too.
That man, holy cow! But anyway, I like Christopher Lee in this. Just menacing. He looks menacing even if he's not doing anything, and especially in this one. just great acting, great. I love the story. I love the sets. The sets were beautiful of the town. And yeah, there was a lot of fog in here, man. They must have spent a fortune on dry ice or bee smoke or whatever they used to call that stuff floating around. But it was because it made a very eerie and creepy atmosphere for that whole town. So yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Oh, cool. Mr. Rotten, what did you think of this?
I have an embarrassing confession to make. I thought I'd seen this, but instead of, because I thought I'd seen it under the title Horror Hotel, but I realized, no, I saw Horror Castle, which is another Christopher Lee movie. And I was like, oh no, I really haven't seen this. The version I watched was like crystal clear. It was real. It must have been remastered. It looked fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's moody, it's black and white, and it's very, very much a brouhaha movie. There's no debating if it is or isn't. And even when it's slow, which I agree, Daphne, it's slow when it gets, in the second act, but at the same time, the locations and the scene and the interiors are so just like full of stuff. It's beautiful to watch. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Christopher Lee shuts the door and stares at the camera like nobody else does, and looks menacing as all can be out. There's a fun guy who likes to hitch a ride and say cryptic things and vanish, which is one of my favorite things ever. And it also does our favorite a la carte, shenanigans.
Name switch.
So there's all kinds of great things. And then I'm watching the movie going, man, if Norman Bates was in this, I think I would have seen this movie. Right down to the very freaking end.
Yeah.
Except for the stare. There's nobody to stare at the screen. But it's I had an absolute blast. Thank you for picking this one.
You done good, Daphne.
You did.
Yeah, I thought it was a good one too. And I thought I'd seen this as well.
Oh, we were all in the same boat. This is crazy.
Well, I had a picture in my mind of the scene where I just had a picture in my mind of a man, this blonde woman going there in this dark, creepy atmosphere to study and do some research. But that is literally all I could remember. I think it might have been something I started watching and didn't finish or fell asleep or something, which I hate it when I do that and then find out later that how good a movie it was. This is so much my thing. There's so much. God, the cinematography and the smoke and the fog technically is what it's representing. And the detailed, the production design, although if I remember, we'll talk about that a little bit, but yeah, there's just all kinds of stuff packed all over the place. I mean, I don't know if I have a picture of it or not. I got to limit myself here, but so I loved it. I thought the acting was great. They had some great character actors. The people were awesome that were in the crowd of Puritans, and the burning scene was great. And before we go on, I should acknowledge that no witches were actually burned during the making of this film or in the United States during the Salem witch trials. There was no burning. There was hanging. There just wasn't burning. Okay. So, but this is still pretty cool. All righty.
Can I say one thing? Christopher Lee, I knew Christopher Lee is tall, but there was a couple scenes in here when I was like, oh my God, yes, he is so tall.
He makes the other actors look like children. They're so small compared to him.
And he just, even in a suit and menacing. totally menacing over these people.
And the dude,
Well,
it just totally works. Totally works.
there's this scene where he's among the witches in the ceremony or the ritual, and he's got the robe on and the hood over his face, and he's all in shadow, and you're not supposed to know who he is, but he's a head taller.
Yeah,
than
he's
everybody
taller than
else.
everyone.
I go, ooh, I wonder who that is. And he even said
So
that
good.
too, that they told me I would never, I'd never be a leading man because I was too tall and too funny looking.
Perfect.
Anyway,
In normal movies.
yeah. So we have a special spot that we have fun doing. We just kind of enjoy it. Chad,
Feedback?
we don't know if Chad likes it or not, but the
Feedback?
rest of us do.
Is that what we're talking about?
Called Taglines with Chad.
That's not feedback.
No, it's not.
Okay, how many you got for me? This?
Oh, there's a bunch.
I swear you make some of them up. I
I
swear.
don't. I could
Okay.
pull one of those off because it's part of another one, but it's a good one
All right.
in terms of
All
how
right.
bad it is.
Taglines for City of the Dead are as follows. This key will answer your questions to these screaming mysteries, next to a skeleton hand holding a key. In parentheses, that last part. So that describing. See how Jeff makes it hard for me? I have to describe the parentheses part.
So you're
Okay.
saying there's a skeleton
There
hand
could be a skeleton hand involved in this
and a
tagline.
key.
That sounds like it would have been like in an ad or a preview trailer or something. Anyway, I
Jeff, stop talking.
Sorry.
Okay, this next tagline: the thrills, the chills of witchcraft today, with Martha Stewart.
we could have just said
tingling
amazing
drama.
spectacular.
Of witchcraft today.
Tingling.
Yeah,
Tingling.
a tingling drama of witchcraft today.
Oh God.
The Snoop Dogg. Sorry.
Next one, just ring for Doom Service.
I love that one. It's so bad.
That's probably the best one out of all.
Doom service.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Here we go. 300 years old. Human blood keeps them alive forever. Forever. For 300 years. Okay.
It's a thing.
It is a thing. Scream with guests from the other world when you ring for Doom Service. Didn't I just read this crap?
Doom service.
It's worth
Doom
repeating.
Service. Okay. Here's one that'll get you. Alive forever. Ooh, kids, spooky stuff, kids.
Somebody thought that might have got a couple bodies in. I don't know.
I can't believe this. All right, Horror Hotel next to the graveyard. And that's it for taglines. I'm sorry. I apologize, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do. I really do.
Book a room
Make
in the
with the outro.
book a room in the horror hotel. Just turn left on Seneca, and it's right next to the graveyard. And that's been Taglines with Chad.
A spellbinding edition, might I add.
It just
Spellbinding.
keeps getting better every time. Okay. Next up, we have some posters. This is a pretty good one, I think. Kind of okay, anyway. The thrills, the chills of witchcraft today. It's amazing what they think people are thinking about witchcraft at night. The thrills, the chills.
I like that. I like this poster. I wish they didn't have the thrills, the chills of witchcraft today on top, but I don't know. It
It's a
just
cool
makes me
poster.
think of maybe it's the title, but it kind of makes me think of Italian horror movies or something. Just the poster.
It's interesting that Dead doesn't have a capital D in the it has a lowercase, which is
a different
They
color.
should have put a period at the end then if they're going to do it that way.
yeah. But that might be a states thing that we have to capitalize all the titles.
Well, it is, as a matter of fact. Although I thought they did that in England too, but most of foreign language films don't do that. Foreign titles. All right, and then there's this one,
which is probably a way a lot of monster kids know this film, this Horror Hotel. Even though there is a 70s film, Horror Hotel.
Yeah, the makers
looks
were
so uncomfortable.
It is. The makers of the film weren't too happy when they did this in the U.S., but nobody asked them.
Nobody asked them.
And I find this hard to believe that this is even for this movie, but
You know how many?
That's creepy.
That
good.
that head is on for the movie poster of "I Drink Your Blood" as well. That's the same face.
Does
One
it?
of them-
Bottom
one of
right
them,
corner.
Yep.
Huh.
well, I'm guessing so they stole it from
So they stole it from Horror Hotel.
yeah.
Well, so
This is very
And then-
much what
and
you'd
then
see
we have
in Famous Monsters was this one.
and this has
that.
little to nothing to do with the movie.
And there's Nan laying there in the middle
Oh, wow, it is. Look at that.
without any color.
I thought it was a mosquito.
I would go see this movie, though.
The poster is good.
Looks like some Jack.
It has
Davis
nothing to
artwork.
do with the movie. There's
Wow.
no scene in there. I mean, they don't look like this. Maybe
No.
they would if they didn't get their blood. I don't know.
If you close one eye and don't look out the other, they look like that.
Well, if that one
All
guy
right.
closed his one eye, he
All
couldn't
right.
see anything.
And Daphne mentioned the riff tracks. This is actually
Oh, look at that. Rift tracks right at the top.
Look,
another
they
one
got their name up above like they're the ones that did the movie.
starring.
Fire.
That's got it in small capital D too, or small D as the.
That's because it's the same font as the other.
Yeah.
one.
I couldn't get. I tried to watch that. I only watched about 5 or 10 minutes of it. I couldn't get into it.
I don't remember watching it, but it's only I must have seen it on Riff Tracks or clips of it from something else because it's very familiar.
And then the top one is Spanish, I think. That's the one that was Aquilare Festin de Brujas.
That is cool.
It looks like an old Universal poster.
It does, doesn't it?
I like that.
Yeah.
And then the
I
bottom
like
one-
so much more that the Patricia part in black and white than in that Hotel of Horror or whatever was all in massive color. I think this is much creepier
right
with the black and white there.
One at the bottom.
The picture of
the picture,
the picture of Patricia.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's see. Yeah, the insert. Yeah.
The insert, yeah.
In the Spanish. And
Well,
I
that's a-
actually
that's a
kind of like
hand
that
over
bottom
most
one
of the
better. I for some reason I like, maybe because the movie's black and white, I like the grayscale shading.
Yeah, it doesn't give away anything.
Mm-mm.
No. No
Except
sarcasm.
adults only.
Adults only. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's definitely.
Um,
That's not U.S.
okay. And before we go too much further, I want to get into John Llewellyn Moxey, who in an interview on the DVD, he says he added Llewellyn, which was his real middle name, because a numerologist told him it was better than just
Numerologist?
than just John Moxey. Number of letters and stuff like that.
Yeah, serial killers do the same thing. Things
I
don't
know,
work out
I
for
know.
them so good.
But he's interesting. So hopefully we all know him from The Night
Psycho
Stalker.
Circus. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Psycho Circus, another. And then he did a bunch of these. It's weird how this started coming up recently. Edgar Wallace mysteries. We talked about that on the Giallo stuff, when we did Bird with Crystal Plumage and Tenebrae. How in Germany they did a bunch of these Edgar Wallace mysteries, and they called them krimis. Well, they had them in England too, and then the U.S. had them. They had an Edgar Wallace mystery theater kind of thing, and they were usually the second movie of a double feature, or the not the prime movie. John Moxey directed 6 of them in like 61 to 65 or something like that. And this particular one, Face of a Stranger, the adaptation was written by Jimmy Sangster. And then this is the bottom left is one that Joseph Perry was always bringing up, Circle of Fear, which was always also called Ghost Stories. It was a series that was on for part of one season that had Sebastian Cabot as the host.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I didn't realize this. I started looking at this. So John Moxey did the pilot episode, directed it, but this was produced by William Castle, and Richard Matheson was apparently like the showrunner. He's like listed for all the episodes, or the story consultant or something. So I need to find those. I've never seen those that I know of. I know they're online. I saw some of them. I think you can get them.
I have an interesting story about the Ghost Story Circle of Fear, if you want to hear it.
Okay.
So everybody probably has one of these. There's a film you probably watched when you were young and it scared you, or a TV show, and you couldn't figure out what it was. You did not remember what it was. And I remember seeing this one about this couple that moved into a house, and there was a ghost story, witchy poo kind of thing going on, and mirrors and steps and all this stuff. And I would looked for it, couldn't figure it out. Finally, I watched this episode directed by John Moxey, and that's the one it was. And it took me 40 years to find it, maybe more. But I was just like so thrilled. I finally found it. I thought it was a movie, but it was. And so we watched these when I was a kid, and it's actually a pretty good episode. It's chilling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I want to see. I don't have any recollection of seeing any of those. I'm kind of surprised that I didn't tune into a couple of them just by chance. But
yeah. Well, they're on YouTube. They're on YouTube if you want to find.
Yeah, I was in. Oh, are they? Okay. Yep. Now the bottom right one, I didn't know about this one. Genesis 2 was like a supposed to be a pilot to kick off a series written by Gene Roddenberry. And the network, and John Moxey directed it. The network didn't like it, so they did it again and called it Planet Earth, I believe.
Oh,
and then
funny.
The same thing happened, and they redid it again. And I don't think John Moxey was involved with those. And they called it Strange New World the third time. And the network still never picked it up. But anyway.
Must not have been no good. Yeah, he did a number of these TV shows that were meant to be, to start a TV series, like Night Stalker above there. You see, the Circle of Fear. What?
Oh, Night Stalker. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he also did a bunch of horror movies, made for TV horror movies in the early half of the 70s. I mean, it's just one after another, and they all say thriller, horror, drama.
One has a great title. This is a great title: "The House That Would Not Die." Isn't that a great title?
The House That Would Not Die.
The House.
I'm gonna go looking for some of these because they look pretty good, and he's really good. On network TV, you wouldn't be able to show much, and he's pretty good at that. Between City of the Dead and Night Stalker, you can't. Guy knew what he was doing in that stuff. Mm-hmm. So anyway, how did Mr. Moxey do in this movie?
I thought he did great.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Mhm.
it had the feel almost between a Universal and a Hammer film.
Mhm.
Almost. It had some of the sets that just reminded me a lot of the old Universal stuff from Frankenstein and Bride and stuff like that. And with the more modern stuff, it felt like a black and white Hammer film. To me, it did. You know,
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a good description.
and that could have been because it was where it was filmed and everything. But yeah, great set design. Great. Some of those close-ups on Christopher Lee were just creepy and scary.
Like the door.
Yeah, yeah.
When he
And-
turns around, he just goes.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff underground where the Nan is struggling with the witches, and it was all black and white, and you couldn't really tell what was going on. That was pretty nerve-wracking stuff. So I thought he did a great job with this.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think there's no real monster. It's just people in hoods. There's no gore really, right? I mean, they're
Blood,
insinuating gore, but no real gore. But yet at the same time, it's eerie, it's atmospheric, it's creepy, and perhaps scary. At least for the time, probably wouldn't scare too many of today's audiences, but it has jump scares and creepy things happening and secret doorways, and
I would say it was more thrilling than scary. It was very thrilling.
I loved the atmosphere of it. One of my favorite scenes was when Nan was trying to get into the cellar and the wind was blowing against the wind. The pull for the curtain was
the key.
the key that was there blowing against the window. I just loved that. I loved that scene. And then, that opened it up. Like, why is that there? But
and they kept having the birds with the little things stuck through it. And
and
Bird with
Mrs.
a little
Newless,
arrow stuck through.
yeah.
Mrs. Newless was awesome. She was fantastic. Elizabeth Selwyn, Mrs.
So
Newless.
what did you mean, Doc, about the Alucard thing?
Well, Newless is you spell her name backward, take one S off, and it's the name of the Elizabeth Selwyn.
Selwyn.
Newless.
Selwyn,
Yeah. So that's your Alucard. Of course, Alucard is Dracula. Come on.
That was the witch that was burned in 1692.
Played by the same.
That cursed the. And
spit on
apparently she
everybody in
wasn't
that
too
weird
mad
way.
at her at the guy.
Yeah.
His name was
Jethro. Well, wasn't that Jethro?
Yeah, Jethro,
Yeah.
the mysterious stranger.
Yeah.
that keeps
Yeah, she wasn't really mad at him for throwing her into the fire.
Oh, okay.
Have you consorted with this witch? No.
No. Please, Satan, help her, Satan. Did you say Satan?
Who is the hitchhiker guy? What? Because is he just
That
known
was
as the elder?
Jethro, wasn't it?
Was that Jethro? Is he just known as the elder?
No, he's Jethro.
He's Jethro. Okay.
Jethro
Jethro.
Keen, I think.
Plain old
Wasn't that it?
Jethro.
Yeah, I think I know that. Yeah, I think
No,
that was
Fred Johnson. The elder is the guy of the Puritans that was driving the burning at the stake.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's who Fred Johnson was.
Okay.
Jethro
Valentine
Keen, that
Dial.
was Valentine Dial, and he was the host of a radio program called The Man in Black. And I didn't look it up, but the impression I got was it was like an anthology series where he introduced stories, and he's got the perfect voice for it, right? It's just
Oh wow, I'm looking it up. He's described as the British Vincent Price because of that. What a great description.
They picked great actors for these roles because I
they
mean,
did.
such interesting faces, and Patricia Giselle, Mrs. Newless, she looked like Selwyn, but not obviously so. She looked like a more modern version, and I love that. They
You know,
picked great people to play these parts.
she looked like, right? It should be the other way around. Cloris Leachman looked like her to me.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I kept thinking she looks like
A
Cloris
young
Leachman.
Cloris
Interesting.
Leachman.
Interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, there was so many scenes. There was a cool shot where I have to, as I was watching it again, trying to look at all the stuff in the sets, there was a scene with Christopher Lee, and he's standing, he's got his long face, right, leaning forward, and behind him on the wall was like a mask or a brass mask or something that was kind of the same type
look.
of face. Yeah, I don't know.
The elongated masks
Yeah,
in his library or in his study. Yeah.
Yes. And they just, I thought, is it coincidence that they just happen to be side by side with Christopher Lee in the foreground? I don't know.
Yeah, was that when he's grabbing the bird, or is that later?
I don't know which time it was. He's like leaning over the desk. I think he might be
they put his
chastising
face
Barlow or something.
Yeah, because they put his face like into full focus like a number of times.
A lot of times.
Again, back to the door, and then when he's getting the bird, and he's trying to get that bird.
Oh,
I thought the car accident that the hell was it? Oh, well, this is another one we should talk about too. But anyway, Bill, the Nan's boyfriend, he has that car accident. I thought that was really well shot.
Yeah, the way it was done.
Even though there was no car accident
without showing the accident.
Wow,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
it
the
was
way
pretty gruesome.
The way the fire was coming through the grill was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out and he comes up to camera and goes, on a tree.
Yeah. And that huge gash. He had that
Yeah.
huge gash on his forehead as he fell down there.
But he was a resilient dude, man. He kept
Very.
He saved the day.
He did.
he did.
And what a shot at the end with him carrying that cross and just flames
yeah.
shooting at the witches. That was such a cool
Yeah,
shot.
somewhere I got. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
People just popping into flames.
Yeah.
Well, could you see that there was like zaps coming out of the sky?
Yeah.
Oh, was there? I missed the zaps.
It was
I wasn't
crazy.
paying close attention, but I was just having a ball with that. Then.
I guess God was doing it.
Yeah, he did all the heavy lifting on this. Those two were useless.
Well, in that bottom shot where the witch is burning, you could see the knife sticking out of the other guy's back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
She threw that knife. Wow! Right.
Yeah.
The poor guy. He collapsed like 4 times before he finally expired.
He's already barely moving. When he goes,
I know.
goes for that
He's back
cross.
up again. Look. They were surprised that he got
Shot
back
her
up.
back.
I was pretty impressed.
This guy, the actor's name is Tom Naylor. He didn't do a lot of stuff, but the character name is Bill Maitland. And since this is like his first movie, this must be the beginning of the Sabatsky string of Maitland characters.
Oh, you're right. I was thinking that name was familiar.
I found a wiki on it somewhere that listed all the movies where there was a Maitland character, but most of the portmanteaus had him in there. The person that was writing the article said there was a Robert Bloch story from the 40s that had a character named Maitland, and he wondered, they used Bloch for a bunch of those anthologies or his stories, and that maybe Sabatsky just liked the name or was giving tribute to Bloch or something. But there's a Maitland and a whole bunch of Amicus movies.
But so given the shot, I just want to touch back on this scary Chad, because for 1959, 1960, maybe 1962 by the States, but for a drive-in movie with a bunch of kids, there are legitimate jump scares in here. And then this ending is really thrilling. I mean, there's when the priest guy comes out of the closet. Right.
Yeah.
And then Lottie, when they discover Lottie,
that was great. Yeah.
So there are.
Yeah, there are
things, and then of course, when the witch poo shows up when he's driving right before the accident. I mean, because when you're driving and all of a sudden, poof, it's fog and you can't see anything.
Right.
You get tense. And I thought that really worked. I mean,
I got tense just watching that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not scary by today's standards, but I think for 1960 drive-in kids, I think it's perfect. It was, and well done too.
Yeah.
They're all well done jump scares that aren't cats coming out of a fridge kind of thing.
There's and then the garage attendants added for a tiny bit of comic relief there.
Okay, I want to ask you something. You know, there's always the guy, right? That's a staple in horror. The guy that's at the gas station, or you know, the doomsayer, right? You know, you're all gonna die. Is there anybody? It's got a death curse. Is there anybody before this?
Well,
yeah.
Who?
Dracula. They stopped in town before they went up to the castle. They were like, they don't want to go up there.
Yeah, they won't take the
cat. Oh yeah, okay, the barkeep, right? Like the barkeep and stuff. Yeah, okay, all right.
But also, Sabatsky, one of his favorite films was Dead of Night, and Dead of Night was the one with the hearse driver going, "Just room for one more, sir," which is kind of a, I don't know, sort of an admonition for death is coming. I don't know. That's not the same thing.
999.
Well, it was funny. She goes up there and he's trying to tell her not to go to Whitewood, and she interrupts him for directions. So, and then what is there, like 2 or 3 in a row towards the end? They're all racing to Whitewood, and by the end, he's just like, another one. Up, turn right.
Yeah.
What's going on here? It must be a party.
She's got it down now. That was one of the few. There was some American actors in here, but they kept talking about that it was, you know, were the British actors doing a good American accent or not? That was pretty variable. But he was American. What did I say? James Deerenforth. Doc, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say all that nonsense made me think of Cabin in the Woods. So. But anyway, keep going.
There's a ton of ones like that.
Well, Doc, you're talking about how it's all pretty scary. I was really surprised when Nan died. I mean, it was like, whoa, you know, it's like she is gonna kill her. When I saw the POV of the knife coming down, I was like, wait, what? You know,
very, very psycho, very psycho.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't even really think about that until afterwards, because I was still so surprised that would happen. And like I said, even though I feel like it was maybe more powerful in Psycho, I was definitely surprised and taken back when that happened, because it was like, she's dead. Like I kept expecting her to not be dead.
I was still hoping she wasn't dead.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't know.
We don't see any evidence of her again, which is part of the mystery, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, the ending has another Psycho spin, if you will.
Right. To see the horror. Well, and that that she died like halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
Like Janet Leigh.
So both of them are in 1960. They're a world apart, right? 1959. Did they know? Did they know already about this movie?
I don't see how they could, because as best as I could tell, they were being shot at roughly the same time.
But it's kind of
wow.
Somebody's like, well, they took the, you know.
Well, people were saying that, but I'm like, it's pretty easy to look up.
Unless they were fans of Block, like Jeff was talking about.
Oh, well, that might be true.
Yeah.
It is in the book, right? Yeah.
Well, the book is quite different.
The book's different, but it's got the. Doesn't she still die early on?
Yeah. It's just the Norman Bates character is really different, I guess. The main thing.
Yeah, maybe you're right, Chad.
He's I think a short.
That must have been an influence because of the Maitland character too. So, yeah, that's a good point. That would be.
Sabatsky was not above being inspired by Block.
Yeah. You put it your way, I'll put it mine.
Okay.
But I would be. Oh man, can you imagine being? You think you got this great idea, and then Psycho comes out and nobody's going to give a crap about your idea.
And this didn't get to the U.S. until 2 years later.
Yeah. Right, 62. Right.
So, And which this might be another reason they called it Horror Hotel.
Oh,
Ooh,
Didn't even think of that.
you're smart.
Always thinking, you guys.
I don't like that.
What?
I don't like thinking.
Thinking.
It hurts.
Man, I didn't sign up for anything.
Well, to speak of Christopher Lee,
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I'm not ever gonna unsee that now, Chad. Thanks a lot.
The bees.
That's so good. Look at that.
That's a great shot of him down below too. I feel like I've seen that shot in Famous Monsters a couple times.
Yeah.
But he
may well be.
Yeah.
There's a few. It's weird because there's these. We kind of talked about one, but didn't really spell it out. But they have these types of scene transitions that we see a lot in horror movies, where you go from something very horrific transmits to something normal, or vice versa. So we've got at the beginning, we've got the Puritan screaming, "Burn, witch, burn, witch, burn," and she's burning and writhing in pain. And then it morphs into Christopher Lee, "Burn, witch, burn," talking to his class wearing a suit. And then when they stab Nan, that the finish of the down thrust is a knife cutting into a birthday cake.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah. That
Forgot
was
about
funny.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
So yeah, Christopher Lee, God, what a star, So there
doesn't look like Christopher Lee anymore now that he looks like Nicolas Cage here so much.
Stop.
No, you can't do that to me. I refuse. I love Nicolas Cage, but that. Anyway, he said some neat things on the Blu-ray is awesome.
I might have to get this one. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's an Arrow one, but I don't know why. I have one called from VCI, and it's got 3 different commentaries on it. One of which is Christopher Lee, who obviously didn't prepare for it. They're like showing the movie, and they have the sound off so that they can hear him talking. And half the time he's going, I can't really remember what's going on here, but this seems really dumb. Why are they doing that? But he also just talks in general about acting and things like that. And one of the people there to interview him asked him about, well, this is a pretty small role, and Christopher Lee is like, no,
no.
There's not small roles and big roles. There's short roles and long roles, but they're all big roles. They all require you to do your part to create the thing at the end. So
yeah, I mean, he
really said you can maybe you don't get very many long roles because you're busy doing so many short roles. Anyway,
but his character isn't really part of the mystery, in the town, right? Until until he puts the hood on, but.
We do find his grave, so he was there originally.
Do we? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I did not put that together. Oh man, you bum. I miss so much, but I saw it.
Well, I feel like even in the beginning,
you got to watch it 4 or 5 times, Doc.
Yeah. Even when he's lecturing, I feel like he's a strong presence, strong character, and so it's like,
Well, he doesn't really seem like a nice guy until Nan starts talking about going to research witches, witchcraft. And then all of a sudden he becomes real nice.
Which makes me very suspicious.
And he does the same thing when we have all these string of visitors come to his house after he whacks the bird. And he goes from tone to tone effortlessly. Like he's real... like he's really nice to the girl, and then he's very what's the word I'm looking for? He's
curt with her at one. He turns from,
but then he does turn. But
why do you want to know her address?
Right. But he gets so stern, right? He just gets But he's just very. There's a word I'm looking for that I can't come up with, but he's not very nice to them, but yet he's very courteous.
Yes.
like especially to the guy, right? Because
Yes.
he doesn't really want that guy there at all. He can't get him out of the house fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah, they were
He's very
downright
polite.
friendly. I mean, they're almost, you're right. It was like this sense of courtesy of, yeah.
You mean Barlow?
Yeah, when he
professor?
came, when he came by to visit him to
Mhm.
find out, to get information when he started researching what happened to Nan.
Mhm.
I was taken aback with how friendly they were with each other. You know, but I just thought, you know, maybe they're used to insulting each other, and then the next day they see each other. That's you know.
Well,
they're
yeah, they
chit-chatting.
were. One's a science professor, and one's
Mhm. Historian or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So here's. I don't know. I
Gosh,
was
she was
saying
good.
Patricia Jessel. Is what I was saying, but maybe it's just,
Sorry.
oh, she was awesome,
So
Yes,
good.
she was.
and that's a great frame shot too with those. I don't know why. Just having those two
Pistols in the middle there.
Yeah.
musket loaded pistols there
Uh-huh.
at the end.
But look at the shot. Look at the lighting. I mean,
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
The
three.
lighting in
absolutely.
this is incredible.
Isn't it great?
That
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
inn, the set design, the lighting, everything in the inn was just
And
awesome.
how far back did Christopher Lee have to stand to get him in that right headshot there? look how tiny his head is compared to
Horse
hers.
perspective, all the way
had-
back.
He had to be like
Yeah.
6
Well,
feet
somewhere-
What was the movie we watched? And it had him, and it was Horror Express. And was it Donald Pleasance and him in the same room?
I wasn't Horror Express. I had to be.
Who was
I
the
had
other
to-
guy in Horror
I
Express?
remember when you guys were talking
Cushing.
about it, though.
Had to be
Peter
Cushing
Cushing.
then.
Yeah.
When they were in the room, he was heads taller than Cushing, but when they showed them in the one scene together, they were like right at the same.
A lot of
same level.
boxes. A lot of
Yeah.
boxes somewhere.
Well,
Maybe he's on his knees at that bottom.
so she's great, but you're making me think of this. I think this is on this one. Yeah. So
God,
the
that's-
bottom one with Patricia Jessel,
Mhm,
she's got the dagger. Well,
mhm.
Oh man.
it's exactly positioned across Christopher
eyes.
Lee's
Nice.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's-
So
uh-huh.
look at that middle shot. That middle shot's
Yeah.
another great.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what she's
Oh my
going
god,
down.
so good.
Yeah.
And I love the intro graphics. For those like charcoal drawings, or what were
It
those?
looked like it, yeah.
That top shot there.
Mm, mhm. Yeah.
That's
Very
all
creepy.
lowercase there.
But the
in
little,
the
there's
city.
all through there. There's that one hand with the long, witchy fingernail.
Mhm.
Witchy.
That
There's
was
no way you could
great.
have got me to go down that hole right there.
No.
Yeah,
No
they
way.
just
way.
ran right down there, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's like
Hey, what's down there?
I hear a bunch of people chanting in Latin. I'll go see what it is.
I do like how she I do like how she discovered it. You know, she basically trips over it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then
Right.
of course,
Mhm.
you know, and then the Miss Nula says, you know, oh,
With the
it's
key.
nothing but it's nothing but dirt.
Yeah.
And then she finds the key and opens it up.
Mhm.
It's
Well,
great.
mhm.
It's great.
Yeah.
Nancy
So I
Drew
thought
kind of
that-
stuff.
Yeah.
I was
Totally.
wondering about that key too. The second time that I watched it, I thought they don't really show it, but I thought it was hanging on a shade and the shade had rolled up.
That's what I thought. That's what I
I-
thought too, that it was the pull. And then
Yeah.
when she put it together that it was the key. That
Hidden
was
in plain sight.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, and then it bang,
Yep.
bang, bang.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was after she had the bird, right? The bird had already shown up by then. The one with the arrow through it.
Yeah, with the arrow through it, and
Mm-hmm.
then the sprig of woodbine on the.
Oh, I love that too.
Wall, that
Yeah,
was a-
that was so awesome.
Oh,
Just
Yeah.
well, let's.
I wish the father guy could have been there. You know, the priest could have been there for his reaction to it. What is it? What's happening? Because he's blind, right? And
Right,
he's
right,
waiting,
right.
the other- oh, you've got to get out of here.
Now you got to get out of here.
exactly.
I love this guy. This guy was the greatest. He was so cantankerous when they
Yeah.
show up for first, like down the bottom there.
Norman McCowan.
Oh my God, loved him.
So
When
in
he
the bottom
bars her
picture,
from coming in the church, it was
Yeah.
like, whoa, what's going on?
and that shot there where she's telling Nan, you can't come in and you need to leave, the 300 years, blah, blah, blah. And, but he backs away
Mhm.
Yeah, into shadow.
that
Into the
darkness.
shadow.
It's like right out of Halloween.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That was so
It was
creepy.
a great shot.
Mhm.
And what's
Yeah.
amazing here is how so many of these scenes they're shot in darkness, but you can always see what you're supposed to see.
Mhm.
It's
That cinematography, yeah, it's wonderful.
so impressed. So
I love the
impressed.
lighting in that second shot with Bella.
Yeah.
Oh my
Mhm.
god, the side lighting, direct side, so you get
Mhm.
the nose shadow and everything.
Mhm.
Oh, it's fantastic.
So this
then-
guy Norman McCowan didn't have a lot of credits either. It's interesting where they find these guys, and maybe they just all did a ton of theater. I don't know.
Probably.
Another excellent guy for this role. I mean, those eyebrows, the face, it's so perfect. I know.
Caterpillars on
man.
the forehead.
Yeah. And I liked the relationship he had with his was it his granddaughter
His
or
granddaughter,
his
yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like, she was taking care of him. She was, comfortable with him, even though he's cantankerous, as Doug said.
So his granddaughter's played by Betta St. John, who is both well, I haven't got to her yet. We're kind of jumping around.
We are.
Both her and Venetia Stevenson didn't do much at all after this. Venetia Stevenson, I think, did one or two films, and Betta St. John's last credit was in 1965. She only had a couple more credits after this.
That's too bad. I thought they were both really
they're
natural
great. Yeah,
they
and
were.
and
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
I loved the scenes when they were driving and Jethro got in the car. It was just kind of like, just getting in the car, and it was just like, and then they would just drive. I mean, I thought they were great.
I've been watching so many true crime shows, that when it starts off with Nan and the guy's like, "You suppose you could give me a lift?" "Oh yeah, hop in." And I'm like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
don't you?" But back then it was different, I guess. Anyway,
But what was a great? He had a great line too. He's not on this pictures there, but the Jethro about
Jethro.
no, if you see me, you're meant. Something about meant to
Right.
see me,
Or for a something few or select.
yeah. She
Something
said, "I
like
haven't-"
that. Yeah.
She said, "I haven't seen you in town," and he goes, she said, "I haven't seen you in town," and then he made that reference of I'm only seen by who needs to see me or something.
Right.
It
Something like
was
that.
so eerie and creepy
Yeah.
saying, and then she turns around after she gets there. This is as far as I'm going. And he's gone.
He's gone.
Because it really made me think about who they were. I mean, because I just felt like that was a whole nother layer there that they didn't really go into in depth, but it was I like that was just this other thing, like what's going on? What
I thought it was the devil at first.
Yeah.
But we don't know if he's not. I mean, do
Right.
they ever say he's not?
No, they don't
Well, then I thought back of that he's praying to the devil at the beginning.
Well, he was the guy.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. At
save
the
her.
beginning, with the witch burning, he's praying.
Right,
to
but
or Lucifer,
she's
praying to
alive.
Lucifer, yeah.
She's not disappearing though and stuff. So it's Nubis isn't
I don't know.
disappearing. So
Well,
So maybe
it's
he's just
interesting.
taking that. Maybe he's just taking that appearance because of her.
maybe
Maybe.
could be. Yeah.
This top picture is Valentine Dial with Patricia Jessel being
She's
cozy
so
by a
pretty.
fire, which just seems really weird. And she was burned to death when he was there watching. I mean,
Exactly. And then they're just comfy, cozy.
And then the bottom
Remember
shot,
the good old days, dear?
yeah.
When we burned.
And then he's such a.
Are you warm enough, dear? Would you like to move a little closer?
But he's such a creeper. It's like she's so pretty.
Yes.
She'll do fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
He'll love
Gross.
her. He will love
Yeah.
her.
The bottom shot there is when he's riding with Dan, and that's such a opposite. She's so open and smiling, and he's so closed and both in shadow. I mean,
Look at the shadow they drop across his face. There's no
Yeah.
reason for that shadow to really be there, but they just drop that creepy shadow across his face to make him more scary.
It works. He's a creepy
Yeah.
guy, man.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's just and he says, such weird things. I loved him. He was my favorite character.
He was great.
Yeah, he just appears out of the fog on the side of the road, and they just stop and pick. Oh, are you going to Whitewood? Could I?
I'd have went, no. We were headed right for town. I was going to turn around by that tree.
Well, Patricia didn't say anything. She was just looking at him, and he got on in the car.
I know, he just got in.
But the Patricia Dressel, I know we're on Valentine here, but she reminds me of the actress who was in
Young Frankenstein?
no, I heard you guys say that. No, in the French movie with the mask, the face.
Eyes Without
Eyes
yeah.
Without a Face.
Oh, yeah.
And because she was also in the
Yes.
Devil.
Suspiria.
Yeah, and Suspiria and the Devil. Gosh,
Rides Out.
no, I'm sorry.
No,
you guys.
the one with the Bava one with Telly Savalas.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
the
in
Devil.
that one.
Lisa and the Devil.
Lisa and the
Lisa
Devil.
and the
Lisa and
Devil.
the
Lisa
Devil.
and the
Sorry,
Devil,
guys.
yeah.
Sorry, Lisa and the Devil.
Look at that.
But
I
that
couldn't
kind
think
of
of it either. We got
that
there.
intense, that intense face.
But look how she looks different enough, right?
She
Because
does absolutely.
that
Yeah.
you don't put it together at first, even though
Not
it's
right away.
literally
Mhm.
just her.
Well, she
Yeah.
does.
Got
She's
that
great
wild
too. I
hair
mean, this
and-
is
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
That's an incredible scene.
Uh-huh. And she's
Weird.
so feral here, so angry, so but then she's so tight in the modern one
Yes.
with Anulus, very uptight and tight in her dress and
Well,
Being
hair
dead will
pulled-
do that
hair
to you.
pulled back, very,
Well, did you notice when Nan gets there to the Raven's Inn that she asks for a room and Mrs. Newless says, "Yeah, we don't have any rooms."
Yeah.
Oh, well, my Professor Driscoll told me. And she goes, "Well, maybe we could find something."
no, like
You just sealed your fate. Oh no. So quick comment about now I gotta find her.
But while you're doing that, let's talk. Oh, okay.
Betta St. John was in as a 10-year-old girl. She was in the movie Destry Rides Again with Jimmy Stewart and Marlena Dietrich and it says she was singing girl and wagon uncredited. So I got to go watch that too. That anyway, and she
did
was
you say
also
she-
in
Go ahead,
in The Law versus Billy the Kid, which isn't anything particularly good. It's just interesting. All right, what were you gonna say, Doc?
I was gonna say, did you say after this she didn't do much more?
Uh-uh.
Because she has a great look. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that middle picture. I mean,
Yeah.
the eyes and it's just a great look. I'm surprised she didn't have more feature films because she could easily have done Hammer films and more for
Amicus or something.
Amicus. Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
I thought she was so really, really good.
The scenes with the two of them together are really good too. They they play opposite each other really well. They feel like a bond is created at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you when she goes back to look for because she basically is taking over this store which has a lot of books from her mom because her mom recently passed away, and then our lead character, the what is it, Patricia? No, is she Patricia? No, she's Patricia.
Nan.
Nan is
Nan. So Nan
the
shows
first.
up and she lends her the book, but when she, of course, she goes back for the book, but you feel like she really is concerned about this girl. Of course, that plays into later because she actually goes and meets Christopher Lee. But I totally believe that they became friends in that instant. It was
in that interaction. I agree.
She was Betta St. John was also in Corridors of Blood, which has Boris Karloff and Christopher Lee.
Ooh, that's one that we need to do. That's a
Interesting.
it is interesting. It's anyway. Karloff's a surgeon, and there's killings going on around him.
Killings. Killings.
And
He's
Christopher Lee plays a dirty scoundrel.
synopsis.
No.
I think he's
Karloff's a
Resurrection
doctor.
Joe. I think he's a guy.
Karloff's a doctor, and there's killings going on around him.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
And Christopher Lee is
where do
sort
I
of like guy that buys the bodies. You know,
Ah.
his name is. It's kind of cool. Resurrection Joe is his name.
Resurrection Joe.
All right.
Tangent.
Oh, she's also in. Oh, I thought she looked familiar. I just saw this recently. She's in a movie called The Snorkel.
The Snorkel.
What? It's a Hammer. Trust me, it's a Hammer film
Oh wow.
where a guy commits a murder, and then he makes people think he's not in the house because he hides under the floorboards, and he has somehow or another, for some reason, I'm trying to even remember why you would need it, but he's got a snorkel in his mouth. I think he fills the house with gas to kill somebody. And he's got a snorkel in his mouth. He hides under the floorboards, and he has a snorkel that he runs a tube outside. Anyway.
Chad looks skeptical on that.
It's a good movie. It's in that, Daphne, it's in that Hammer 10.
That one collection?
Hammer. Yeah.
I will look for Snorkel.
The Snorkel.
Snorkel.
Let's wait on that one till we're totally done with the last 60 years worth of movies.
You got to watch a movie called Snorkel.
Got a lot of Hammer films we can do before then.
So then in the top picture here, talking to Norman McCown is Dennis Lotus, who's Nan's sister, or Nan's brother, Richard Barlow, the scientist. And in real life, he was a singer.
But he doesn't
With a
sing
band.
here.
Not a pops, not a rock band singer, not a Beatles, Rolling Stones type singer.
A little early for that. Yeah.
Iron
Kind of
Maiden.
Iron Maiden. That's later. And his name, Barlow, that's a familiar name, right, Chad?
Yeah.
Yeah, Salem's Lot.
Barlow.
Well, I'm thinking about it. This George Baxt also wrote Night of the Eagle, which is Burn Witch Burn.
Oh yeah. Good movie.
Which is interesting. Not that different. I'm just saying. Tower of Evil, the original story for Tower of Evil and Vampire Circus.
Vampire Circus. Love Vampire Circus.
Some of those Edgar Wallace mysteries. Night of the Eagle. So anyway, he's no slouch either. So let's look at Venetia here. We've been talking about her a lot.
And Barlow.
I've only put this up here for one reason. Well, two reasons, two questions. Wardrobe question in the bottom picture.
Yeah.
I somehow just can't picture 1960 college girls wearing that. I don't even know what it's called. Is that a bustier or is that, what is that?
Bustier caca.
I'm not sure about that, but
that's what she walks around.
I meant the bustier caca that was happening.
Oh, that's from the movie Selena.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's a corset or some sort of undergarment. But if you're wearing
it had a little
those,
frilly skirt thing.
yeah,
on it,
it seemed a little dressy. Yeah,
Just
I'll
to
give you
hold the
that.
dress.
Well, it also didn't
little
seem
dressy.
all that comfortable for her to be lounging around
No,
in
it
with her
didn't.
robe on.
Yeah, with her robe on, doing her research. I was surprised by it.
Okay. I wasn't going to
But
put it
she'll-
up, but then I thought
She likes those frilly things. It didn't catch my attention.
So look at that shot at the top. There's all your fog and nice
fog and
look at the composition, right,
Yeah.
Chad?
yeah.
Yeah, the two old women in the back.
Well, and I feel like that gets her character so well. She, like you've described her, she's like really open, but she's there, she's interested, she's intelligent, she's looking at the stuff. And
I'd like to compare that top shot with one from Psycho from Janet Leigh. I wonder
Oh,
how
yeah.
close they are.
Mm-hmm.
and
Unintentionally,
then
of course.
yeah, the middle one is where she's fighting, and
Uh-huh.
I don't know, I totally bought her struggling and her screaming, and it wasn't. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't just screaming.
Uh-huh.
There was a lot of variation to it, and fighting and struggling noises and stuff. And she said that was difficult to shoot because of how long it took and how much time you have to spend. You know, it's hard to scream for that long and multiple
Over and
takes
over again.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought she did a great job. It's
Mhm.
too bad she didn't have more things to do. So did you see her parents' connection? Who her parents were?
Mm-mm.
So her dad is, I think it's Richard Stevenson. He directed almost everything he did. Late 50s, 60s, and early 70s were Disney movies.
Oh.
I
Interesting.
mean, Absent-Minded Professor, Mary Poppins, Son
Really?
of Flubber, Love Bug, all the way up to Love Bug Rides Again,
Oh my gosh.
Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
It's my childhood right there.
I know. I was looking at this list of stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, this guy he just was like the Disney machine there. And her mom was an actress named Anna Lee. Do you know that? What are you reading, Daphne?
Oh,
You
because
got excited.
that darn cat. He directed
Oh,
that
yeah.
darn cat.
Yes.
That's not the cat. Wasn't there a cat from outer space too?
Yeah, I think that wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking the cat from outer space.
Yes.
But that darn cat. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I gotta look up the cat from outer space.
So her mom, this is another connection where her mom was a long-term actress, and she was in Bedlam in, I think, 1945, that starred Boris Karloff as the evil insane asylum guy, and she gets herself put in there to catch him. It's a Val Lewton RKO movie. And then she becomes Lila Quartermain on General Hospital for 25 years.
Wow.
Her mom, Anna Lee. Yeah.
That's a gig.
Oh, okay.
I never watched the stories.
Stories.
The stories.
The stories. Oh my gosh. What? I haven't heard that.
I got into I got into General Hospital during the Luke and Laura saga.
Luke and Laura.
Well,
I was just a wee lad then.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was Mr. Mom for a couple years, and there wasn't any neighborhood women playing poker, but a friend of mine worked construction, so he was off during the winter. So I'd go over to his house, and our kids would play together, and I'd drink beer and watch General Hospital.
Love it.
And that's how the 70s were for most people.
Oh my gosh.
That was actually the early 80s, I think. Anyway,
Luke
so
and Laura.
it gives me a big kick. And this woman, Venetia Stevenson, was married to, oh shoot,
Oh shoot.
I know I got the name wrong. The guy that was in the War of the Gargantuans, the American.
Oh, he was also in the Green
Russ
Slime.
Tamblyn?
Yes, she was.
Russ
She was
Tamblyn?
married to Russ Tamblyn for a year,
Oh yeah.
and then she was married to one of the Everly brothers for 8 years. The singing.
Wake up,
duo.
little Susie.
That's
I was gonna
exactly
say.
right. It just cracks me up.
But she's not.
And she was mother-in-law to Axl Rose for a while. So apparently her daughter married Axl Rose.
Her
Wow,
picture in
Kind of
Wiki,
crazy.
she is a bombshell in there. I don't know. She looks
Oh
fantastic.
yeah.
Her picture in Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, she was.
She looks
was
like from that time. Yeah.
She was. She had a title that Marilyn Monroe also had, and I forget what it was
Uh-huh.
called. You know,
Yeah, she has that look.
Gorgeous Women of Filmland or something like
Mhm.
that. I can't remember. So, but she wasn't into the acting thing so much, and she got into reading scripts for a while, and was like, I don't know. It said she was a production manager in the '80s for a company that did Bruce Reynolds movies, like or Burt Reynolds movies, like Take This Job and Shove It, and I forget what the other one was. I didn't recognize most of them, but it listed her as a production manager, and it said something like executive in charge of production or something like that under title. So anyway, and then in early '90s, she was actually producer for a movie, Servants of Twilight, which is from a Dean Koontz novel. That was actually written under the name Lee Nichols, I think. But he came out on who those were. All right. Phoenicia, another person that you're just kind of going.
She was great.
So I did those. So here's the Villager Witches.
Oh, there's the middle one.
Yeah, the middle one. Those two women show up every time somebody walks across this, strolls through the fog across this.
I love that they did the same people, the same routine when her brother came. It was just like, are these people even real? You know what I mean? You think it was like so creepy.
And that bottom shot is the coven coming after. Mm-hmm. And the top was one of the Puritan women.
That's the bottom shot is about as close to that horror hotel poster as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That middle shot too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, come on.
Well, I did feel like there was just a lot of stuff going on that was really interesting. Like when the brother called and there was no listing for the inn, and then these people, it's almost like, did they just come out during this particular time, or were they real? And it just was, I don't know. Well, I thought that was really cool part of the story.
They said twice a year on Candlemas and some other date. But what was up with the couples dancing to the music out there? And as soon as she opens the door, it's
right.
All gone.
Nothing.
It was a conjuring.
There's some really interesting stuff in this.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I showed these or not, but this is just like the best.
The middle one reminds me of the fog a little bit.
Yeah, I love how they're silhouette against white fog. Yeah,
and that's those top two pictures are the opening scene where the Puritans are coming out of the fog to the burning. But he said John Moxey. See, I don't know anything about this, and I keep trying to look this up, and I can't find it. He talked about using paraffin smoke. And so I don't know if that's what they call bee smoke.
Paraffin smoke was
paraffin wax, right? So
yeah, I think it was about this. It was bee. I think it was bee smoke or similar to bee smoke. It was very noxious and very nasty stuff. So
in the air, when I was trying to find it, I found something called airplane smoke, which is what the skywriters use, and that came into being like around the late 50s when aerobatic teams started using it, and right in the sky. And the company that was selling this stuff said it was non-toxic and safe and all that stuff, but that's not necessarily 1960. But he was saying what they did was if they heated that stuff to different temperatures, then it would create different layers, different machines. Wow. And then you could have them kind of moving different to each other, and that's what makes it look really eerie and creepy sometimes. So
science.
Bottom picture, the house looks like it has a face.
It does.
Yeah.
Man,
you're right. Yeah.
That's when she drives up and sees the.
There's your
graveyard.
There's a graveyard. Yeah.
Well,
so I got to ask you.
The thing with the fog, I was just going to say, it was so thick. And they just made it looked really, really good. And it's like really and it's interesting that perhaps they could be at different layers based on temperature and stuff, and it was they did a really good job with that.
You ever driven through a fog bank like that? Like,
I think I
It happened-
have, and I don't know how they could drive so fast in this movie.
oh man,
I was
it
going,
happened-
slow down!
it used to happen in Florida, like every change of the season, right?
Mhm.
Chad, you
Yeah.
probably remember. And you
I
go
do.
across the it was just you would literally you couldn't see
You had to
anything in
pull
front of you.
over. You couldn't see
or
a
go
foot in front of your car.
slow. You'd have to go so
Uh-huh.
slow. Oh my god.
They were not driving
Sorry.
slow in this movie.
No, especially the guy that
That-
Oh,
rammed
yeah.
into the
man,
tree.
you know,
Yeah.
that car was going up and down, and you could hear the
Yeah.
shocks and the springs.
No, that wasn't the shocks. That was people getting run over.
Oh, no.
Could have been the people that
Couple
were
possums here and there.
Mm.
But like the lady goes, she goes, oh, there's a bump ahead, and they all go.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Right.
I guess I
That was
already did
funny.
that one. So, all right, that's all my pictures. I wanted to see it. So, Amicus. Here's what I can't figure out. So, the producers are listed as Milton Subotsky and a couple other people. And it's listed as Vulcan Films. Max Rosenberg isn't listed anywhere in the credits that I could find on the movie or in IMDb. Yet, when they're talking about it, these people like Max, John Moxey are saying like that Rosenberg and Subotsky put this together, but it was before the actual company of Amicus was formed. So I don't know. It very quickly became Amicus, or was the genesis of the idea. It's a good flick. Wanted to see.
Can we mention Lottie real quick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lottie.
Absolutely.
What was
Yeah.
her? Okay.
Oh, just that I thought it was a good character to kind of give clues and for New List to be just horrible too. And a good and I loved when the brother, had that scare where he put his hand in her face after she'd been murdered down in the they just cared so little for her that they just shoved her down there in the cave.
Yeah, and that was kind of a jump scare. He's like
Yeah.
apparently walking around in the dark feeling
Uh-huh.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden his hand's on her face. And,
Right. Yeah.
she had a decent career in terms of what's listed in IMDb right up till 2013. But I don't know that I really looked to see what other stuff she was in. And I feel bad because I know Fred Johnson, both the director and Christopher Lee talked about Fred Johnson as, being a guy that they knew that.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Fred Johnson was in The Curse of Frankenstein
Mhm.
and The Brides of Dracula.
Mm.
So, he was getting in on that stuff back then.
I had
Let me
a
see.
question about the music. When in the beginning they had like music by so and so, or orchestra or something, and then it had some guy and it just said jazz next to it.
Yeah, there were
It's
some
like-
jazzy bits in there.
Yeah, but so I was watching it and I'm like, huh. So did he just take care of all the jazz in the movie, or
I don't know if it was like
It's
what was on the
interesting.
radio or what was
I
on
did,
the,
yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Well, and somebody mentioned that Subotsky was a jazz fan
Mhm.
in that era, and that's probably
Yeah,
He
Yeah,
would bring that up in his Portmanteau films as well. All right.
it was
I want to see
jaunty.
a portmanteau from Kathmandu. That's what I want.
Kathmandu, Portmanteau.
Anyway,
Oh, and last thing is I haven't really looked up this guy's career, but the cinematographer who is like must be brilliant. His name
Yeah.
is Desmond Dickinson.
on purpose.
On purpose.
So Desmond Dickinson
it's Bruce's dad.
did a lot of movies. And Chad or Daphne or whoever, what's the Iron Maiden connection to this movie?
They play snippets of this and a lot of other horror films during their videos, their official videos. Like Number of the Beast has a lot from werewolf movies and that kind of thing, Godzilla movies, and I think this one showed Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter had some of the graveyard scenes and stuff like that from this, if I'm not mistaken.
You are not.
Rob Zombie liked it too.
I saw that.
Yeah, the lines "fear, superstition, and jealousy" is used at Dragula.
They're all horror fans anyway.
All right.
Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter was the one it was used in.
Mm-hmm.
What a great title.
Yes.
Great song.
What?
Is it? Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter.
Okay.
Go watch this movie. Cool. Go watch this movie.
Yeah.
The
and watch Christopher Lee stab a bird.
Well, off screen.
You don't actually see him stab the bird, but
you feel it.
You
you
do.
do.
He sells it. He sells it.
Yes.
And then he gets all nervous.
Yeah.
Washes his hands.
Stupid traveling salesman come to the door and I'm trying to make a sacrifice to Satan.
Well, we've already gone longer than the movie.
We probably should stop.
We do have. Well, that's a fun movie. There's a lot. When we watch a movie like this, I feel like, why have I not watched this before?
I'm so glad you guys liked it because I kind of was just took a chance on it, and it was one of those. I know sometimes I love the slow burn movies, and I know some folks sometimes don't like it. So but I'm so glad.
Yeah. It's nice to get back to like a slow burn.
Well, I don't know,
horror film where there's not 50 billion things happening on screen.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's fun to let that tension build sometimes.
It was a nice spooky movie.
So, well, and we do see a witch burning in like the first 5 to 10 minutes. So it's not.
Get you going.
Yeah.
All right. Check this thing out. We watched it, I believe, on Tubi, right?
I watched on Tubi, yeah.
It's on Canopy too.
Oh, it's on Canopy as well. All right. We do have some feedback. And let's see. Rosemary's Baby was kind of a... this one's interesting. Chad, you want to take this?
Yes. Rosemary's Baby from...
Episode 150.
From Nacho Mama, which is a new maybe not a new listener, but first time I've noticed the name.
Nacho Mama.
Nacho Mama, NAHCHOMAMA. Hey guys, the movie was not all about Rosemary. It was about witches, Hollywood covens, and the extent of their network. The husband set Rosemary up from the beginning, and it's all about blasphemy. That's why it's such an important Hollywood classic.
Ooh. Ooh. I like the way they put that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is an important Hollywood classic, but are they saying Hollywood's full of?
Yeah, Hollywood's full of aliens and witches.
Especially aliens, lizard people too.
Yeah, lizard people. Look at Nicolas Cage.
Scoundrels!
Yes.
How many times can I bring Nicolas Cage up in this podcast?
We make fun. Nacho Mama, thank you so much for the comment.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Then we have one on episode 154, The Wasp Woman. Oh, I should have had somebody else read that. From Mikey Z. Who wants Mikey Z? Daphne, are you feeling it?
I'm feeling it. Hey, Mikey Z. Last black and white film by Corman before he ventured into Poe Price territory. Real life tragic Susan Cabot becomes a killer transformed by royal jelly. By the way, doesn't royal jelly sound like something only royalty prefers on their English muffins? Synopsis: Mad Men meets Corman. That's a good synopsis.
Wow, I didn't think about it that way.
That's a good synopsis. Obviously inspired by The Fly, Michael Mark from those early 30s Universal flicks appears as everyone's favorite mispronounced scientist Eric Zinthrope, Zitzthrob, Zanhoople. Zinthrope, damn it.
Zanzibar.
Zinfandel was one of the, Zardoz. Oh, I'm sorry.
However you say it, this goofy 1959 AIP offering deals with the eternal problem of aging in a youth-oriented marketplace and the issues that arrive when you don't do enough research into new scientific breakthroughs. I think good old Zinni was trying to get back on those who ridiculed his royal jelly findings and fired him.
Zinky.
Question. Why didn't the cat that was experimented on not develop wasp-like features? Are we going to start the questions? Well, we all know the reason. Corman budget. Now an attempt in that direction might have created a being that good old Whit Bissell might have been proud of. I was a teenaged wasp cat. Anyone? It might have rivaled earlier Corman creations from It Conquered the World, Attack of the Crab Monsters, and Night of the Blood Beast.
Nothing can beat Attack of the Crab
Nothing.
Monsters.
Absolutely nothing. Great
Nothing.
podcast, Grue-Crew. Keep it classic as always.
Thank
Mikey
you.
Z.
Thanks,
Thank
Mikey.
you, Mikey.
So, yes, thanks, Mikey. And then I love it when this happens. Mikey Z and Ralph Miller were having a conversation on our Facebook page. And in reply to Ralph Miller, or in reply to the post about the episode coming out, Ralph Miller said, "Too bad she didn't measure up to the creature on the poster," which
True.
we commented on. And
That happened
Mikey,
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mikey Z says, "Too expensive at the time for Corman to even contemplate creating for the film. But come on, someone made the giant claw."
Oh my God, the giant claw.
Ralph comes back with, "It wouldn't have worked on such a slim budget and schedule, but I would have enjoyed seeing what kind of special effect they would have slammed together on a Roger Corman budget. Yes, indeed, Sam, we do it for half the price Harryhausen would charge, and it will turn out better. Katzman did produce the giant claw, and bless him for it. Hands down, one of the funniest monsters ever committed to film.
Yeah.
The giant claw."
Have we done
So
that yet?
Sam
Have we done
Katzman
No.
will do it for half the price
Oh,
Harryhausen
boy.
would charge, and it will turn out better.
The
All righty.
claw.
Appreciate it, Ralph, Mikey, and Nacho Mama.
Yes.
Mama.
Hope to hear from you all again. That's it
Thank you.
for this episode. Every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1920 and 1969. Next up is one chosen by Doc. What are we doing, Doc?
We are doing a British man in suit kaiju film. Not too many of those. This one is Gorgo from 1961. There's two. At least
Man
two.
in suit. Is it black tie kaiju?
It's optional.
Yeah, it's dry wit. But Gorgo is it's a fun one. I have
All
some
right,
interesting stories about it too.
All right.
It's out there on free streaming apps with ads, so check it out if you haven't seen it. Plenty of ways to stay in touch. Please send feedback to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com, or better yet, leave comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel. Visit us at Gruesome Magazine's HNR and DOH podcast Facebook group, or on the website. And all of these episodes are available with audio versions on your favorite neighborhood podcast apps.
Did we mention our Patreon?
We didn't. And our anniversary.
Oh, you want me to do that? All right, like we have time. We are
Might as well
celebrating-
now.
We are might as well. If you stuck around for this, we're glad you're here because we're celebrating 10 years of H&R, Gruesome Magazine, and of course Decades of Horror. And we've been celebrating all year long, leading up to our inaugural Grue-Cruise, which we're doing in February of 2024 or early March, depending on how you look at it. And yeah, it's been a fantastic time, and coming in contact with all my new family. Love you guys all. So
Yeah.
fun times.
And we're happy to have Doc here. Whitney exited stage left about 5 or 6
Exit stage
episodes
right.
ago. And we were sorry to see her go, but Whitney was with us for about 100 episodes, I think, or over
Wow.
100. So Doc stepped in, and we're glad he did.
Yes.
Now I'm going to make you watch Gorgo.
Now we can make fun of him to his face. You know?
5 episodes in, we got Gorgo.
Mm.
Yes.
I just love that you let us talk and talk and talk for an hour and 35 minutes.
It's
About an hour and 17-minute film.
Gorgo might be faster. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Don't say
There's
that. That
there's a
curses
lot
it
in
every
there.
time.
I
There's a
know.
lot
I
in
just cursed us. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Doc, Chad, and Daphne. Really appreciate it. Love doing this with you guys.
Same here.
Me too.
I reined it in a little bit, didn't I? Catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie, as only decades of horror can do it. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody.
Good night.